I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour, Narendra Modi to take oath as India's Prime Minister for third consecutive time. Host of foreign dignitaries, heads of several neighbouring countries expected to attend the event. Polling underway across the European Union blocks 27 member states to choose 720 lawmakers for the EU Parliament. Italy, Slovakia, Latvia and Malta head to the polls today. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken to visit West Asia next week as Washington tries to put pressure for Gaza ceasefire. And in sports, world number one Iga Swiatek eyes fifth Grand Slam title, will face Jasmine Paolini in Roland Garros title clash on Saturday. President of India, Draupadi Murmu, invited Narendra Modi to form the government for the third consecutive time after letters of support were submitted by leaders of the National Democratic Alliance parties as well as the BJP Parliamentary Party, electing him as their leader. Swearing in for the third Modi government to take place on 9th of June at Rashtrapati Bhavan. President Murmu fed dahi chini or sweet curd to Prime Minister-elect Modi. In Indian culture, eating dahi chini is considered auspicious before undertaking important tasks or starting a new venture. Top South Asian leaders have been invited to the oath ceremony of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, reflecting the government's neighbourhood first policy. Leaders from the neighbouring countries like Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and Nepal Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal will be attending the swearing-in ceremony. Leaders of Maldives, Mauritius, Nepal, Sri Lanka and Bhutan to touch down in India on Sunday for the swearing-in. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has reached New Delhi ahead of the oath-taking ceremony. A special flight from Dhaka carried Sheikh Hasina and her entourage members to the national capital. Sheikh Hasina was received by a high-level Indian delegation and Bangladesh High Commissioner to India, Mohammad Mustafizur Rahman, at the airport. Welcoming Bangladesh PM Sheikh Hasina, India's External Affairs Ministry in a tweet said, first distinguished guest sets foot in New Delhi for the swearing-in ceremony of Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. PM Sheikh Hasina of Bangladesh, warmly received by Secretary Consular, Passport, Visa and Overseas Indian Affairs, Muktesh Pardesi, as she arrived in New Delhi. This visit of one of our most valued partners will further strengthen India-Bangladesh close and deep-rooted bonds of friendship. World leaders have started to arrive in the national capital ahead of the oath-taking ceremony of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Vice President of the Republic of Seychelles, Ahmed Afif, arrived in New Delhi to attend the swearing-in ceremony. All right, DD India correspondent Vishal Beristo joins us for more. Vishal, grand event tomorrow indeed, where world leaders are also coming, swearing-in ceremony. What are the arrangements that have been put in place?
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Siddharth. Let me take a cue from your dahi chini. Now, dahi chini in India, in Indian culture, is often given to a child by the mother whenever he goes to take an exam.
Certainly.
So it's definitely quite an exam for the Prime Minister, because this time he would be leading a Democratic Alliance. Also, it would be supported by two main parties from the Telugu Desam and also from the JDU. Then you have other partners in the NDA. So this time BJP is not having a full majority. So definitely it's going to be quite a challenge for the Prime Minister this time. But going back to the arrangements, 8,000 guests are there for tomorrow, and we are expecting foreign dignitaries. As you just announced, the Bangladesh head is here, Sheikh Hasina is here. Then you have Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bhutan and also Maldives would be coming tomorrow. They would be hosted for a dinner by the President Draupadi Murmu. There is a three-layer security arrangement for tomorrow. Delhi police is taking all the arrangements in its hand. And also there is a complete ban on flying. Also, the subconventional aerial platforms are also not allowed, which includes paragliders and also the UAVs. So it's a very tight security arrangement by the Delhi police. And also a lot of care has been taken that even the common man like Swachhagrahis, those cleanliness workers who are responsible for cleaning the public places are also invited. Then you have Padma awardees. Then you also have people who have been mentioned by PM's program Mann Ki Baat, which means talking right from your heart, straight from your heart. So he would be very happy to receive them, because Prime Minister has always made it a point that all those people who have contributed in the development of the country should be given proper respect and their due. So this time also he is following that procedure.
Okay, Vishal, can you tell us a little more about the guests which are coming tomorrow, including the common people like you've just mentioned, which clearly shows that how Prime Minister is inviting common people also in the swearing-in ceremony goes on to show certainly that they hold a position in in the country, and they are responsible for the development of the country.
Well, certainly, Siddharth, because we have seen that whenever he used to visit his constituency in Varanasi, he would always sit with those who played a crucial role in the development work of his constituency in Varanasi, and that included people of low rank in the society, but for him, they are the most important people because they contribute a lot. Cleanliness is godliness is what the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, once said. And Prime Minister took it to the next level by making it a national campaign. So he has been always giving a lot of due importance to the Swachhagrahis, which also means cleanliness workers. And then you have Padma awardees also participating in the event. Then also other dignitaries and people of important portfolios apart from the political parties would also be leaders from different political parties would also be there.
Okay.
Then the NDA members themselves would be there. It's a grand alliance, let me tell you.
Indeed.
And the Prime Minister has named it Jan Bandhan.
Indeed. Vishal, can you take us, it's a big day tomorrow, that we have to admit, the swearing-in ceremony. Can you take us through the series of events which will take place tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow after in the evening, 7:15 is the time given for the swearing-in ceremony. There is no change of guard there at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, which is the presidential palace. Then the events that follow after the swearing-in ceremony is quite interesting, and it would be interesting to note who gets what. The BJP has made it very clear that it would keep defense, home, MEA and finance.
Okay.
But the allies have been asking for finance and also home. So it would be interesting to see how those parties
Definitely.
like Telugu Desam and the JDU and also the Chirag Paswan's party who are there in the alliance are also accommodated in the grand alliance. So because this time BJP does not have full majority, so it will have to cater to their demands, but at the same time keep its dignity intact.
Definitely, and it will be very interesting to see, Vishal, like you've just said, that who will get what. Thank you so much for your assessment as of now. Well, we also have DD India correspondent Naval Sang Parmar, who is joining us from Dhaka. Naval Sang, Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is the first leader to reach Delhi for the swearing-in ceremony. What details do you have for us?
Yes, Siddharth. Today she left at around 10:30 from Bangladesh, Dhaka, according to local time, and she reached at New Delhi around 12 noon, according to local time, Indian time. She is the first foreign head of the state who has come to Delhi to witness the swearing-in ceremony of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi for the third consecutive term. And you see, the India and Bangladesh have a historical bilateral relation. India played a very important role in the liberation war of Bangladesh itself. So we have a common history, common language, common culture. So that tie is very strong, and she will be there in New Delhi for up to afternoon of 10th. So that is the
Okay, Naval Singh, you just mentioned the relationship between the two countries. When we talk about the relations between the two nations, then India and Bangladesh, they have, built cooperation in various sectors: trade, energy, infrastructure, connectivity, defense, security, and science also. How do you assess this? Do you also think that, in the coming years, Naval Singh, the relations will only grow stronger and stronger between the two nations?
Yes, Siddharth, historically, India-Bangladesh relations are getting stronger and stronger day by day. You know that we have around 4,096 kilometer long physical border with Bangladesh, and it is the fifth longest international border in the world. So we have a very strong bilateral relation. As far as trade is concerned, Bangladesh is India's largest trade partner in South Asia, and India is Bangladesh's second largest trade partner in Asia. And we have a quantum of product, a bouquet of many products, which is very crucial for both the country for the bilateral trade. As far as connectivity is concerned, we have a 4 rail link between India and Bangladesh, and you will be surprised that there are 3 passenger trains which are running cross-border. One is Maitri Express from Calcutta and Dhaka, between Calcutta and Dhaka. Then second one is Maithili Express from Dhaka to New Jalpaiguri in the northern Bengal. And third one is Khulna to Calcutta.
Okay.
Apart from that, there is one more rail link which is going to open very soon this year, and that is Akura-Agartala. It means it will provide connectivity between northeastern region of India and the Chittagong port of Bangladesh. So Akura-Agartala link will be very crucial for the India and Bangladesh. It will enhance the bilateral trade, as well as it will provide a avenue for the northeastern region to have a connectivity with the Bay of Bengal, and which will reduce very time as well as money and energy. Apart from that, we have a very good defense or military relation between the India and Bangladesh. High level engagement is there. Very frequently, head of the state of both the country visit each other, and at the same time, we have a highest level defense dialogue. DG BSF as well as DG Border Guard Bangladesh have a frequent visit to coordinate the border management. As far as the defense part is concerned, there is a very good coordination
indeed,
and very good border. Yes.
Definitely. Both the countries, they have over the years grown their relationships in various sectors, like I was mentioning. And tomorrow, being a big day, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, she's already arrived here. Thank you so much for your assessment. We'll keep taking updates from you on this. Meanwhile, India's opposition Congress Working Committee passed a resolution requesting Rahul Gandhi to take up the role of the leader of the opposition in lower house at a meeting where party's top leaders held discussion on future strategy at a meeting in New Delhi. Congress Parliamentary Party Chairperson Sonia Gandhi, Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge, Party MP Rahul Gandhi, Party's General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra and other party leaders attended the meeting.
CWC unanimously requested Sri Rahul Gandhi ji to take the leader of the opposition position in Lok Sabha. All the participants unanimously put up their views on this issue. Everybody was unanimous that Rahul ji should take leader of the opposition position in the Lok Sabha. Because we already told, during this election we raised so many issues, burning issues, unemployment, price rise, Agniveer-like issues, women issues, social justice issues. So these issues has to be continued in a greater manner inside the parliament also. Rahul ji is the best person to lead this campaign inside the parliament. This is what the CWC's view.
And still to come on DD Newshour. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak apologized for leaving the D-Day commemorations early. Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen hit by a man in central Copenhagen. More details ahead. France is planning to try to restrict children's access to social media.
मैं नरेंद्र दामोदर दास मोदी ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं, भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगा। मैं नरेंद्र दामोदर दास मोदी संघ के प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों का श्रद्धापूर्वक और शुद्ध अंतःकरण से निर्वहन करूंगा। पहली 3 इकोनॉमीज में एक नाम भारत का होगा। मेरे शरीर का हर कण, मेरे समय का हर क्षण देश को ही समर्पित है। देश का विश्वास पक्का हो गया है कि अब भारत की विकास यात्रा रुकने वाली नहीं है।
You're watching DDI Newshour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak apologized for leaving the D-Day commemorations early for an interview. The early departure has come as a major setback to campaign for July 4th election. Sunak's decision not to stay at the event in northern France alongside other world leaders on Thursday has been met with criticism within his Conservative Party. The leader of the opposition Labour Party, Keir Starmer, remained in Normandy for the duration of events. According to opinion polls, Labour has an edge over the Conservatives. Meanwhile, during the interview, Sunak claimed that a Labour government would result in more burden on taxpayers.
Are you willing to lie in order to stay in power?
No.
The Labour Party say you're a liar.
Yeah, I think it's pretty desperate stuff. And Keir Starmer and the Labour Party obviously very rattled that we've exposed their plans to raise tax on people. And that's what it demonstrates.
Conservative politician Penny Mordaunt announced in a television interview that the party's election manifesto will be released next week. While Britain's opposition Labour Party is also expected to release its manifesto next week ahead of July 4 election. All right, we have Ollie Barrett. He's DD India correspondent joining us from London. Hi, Ollie. Tell us about the election in UK, which is attracting eyeballs for varied reasons. What are the promises, first of all, both the Conservative Party and Labour Party making to woo the voters?
Well, if you look at the campaign trail just today, the two main parties are focusing on economic issues, really. The Conservatives are promising to retain a removal of the so-called stamp duty property tax for properties up to a certain value. They say that that would help more people onto the housing ladder and particularly help people finding difficulties affording the ability to buy a property. The Labour Party today also focusing on economic issues as well and making various pledges in that domain, and economic issues are front and centre in this campaign so far, partly because of the cost of living crisis that the UK, like many other countries, has been experiencing. But it's not all about the economy. Migration is also a central theme, with the Conservatives promising that Rwanda migration plan to send some asylum seekers to Rwanda to pursue their claims there. The Labour Party say that they would get on top of immigration in a different way and they would scrap the Rwanda scheme altogether. Lots of pledges around veterans affairs and defence spending too. The parties have a slightly different position on defence spending, in the sense that the Conservatives say that they would get up to 2.5% of GDP being spent on defence by the year 2030. The Labour Party say they would get up to 2.5% as well, but aren't putting a timeline on it. So there are differences between the parties, and the campaign at this point being fought around a number of significant issues, from the economy to migration to taxation to crime and security as well. Lots to talk about on the campaign trail today, as I say, a focus from both of the two main parties on economic issues.
Okay, since you've just mentioned campaign, Ollie, Rishi Sunak claimed that Labour government would result in more burden on taxpayers. And Sunak is receiving a lot of flack for leaving D-Day commemorations early as well for interview which might go against the Conservative Party in July 4 elections, where all 650 seats in the House of Commons are up for grabs. What's your assessment?
Well, on the tax point, that is a row that is still continuing. The accusation from Labour is that the Conservatives have lied and that the Prime Minister himself has lied about an assessment that they have made that the Labour Party would need to raise taxes on households up and down the country by over £2,000, so several thousand US dollars. The accusation from Labour is that the Conservatives have lied about that being what the Conservatives called an independent assessment made by officials in the Treasury in Westminster. The Conservatives insist they have done no lying at all. They say they stick by the numbers and their claims that Labour would raise taxes in that way. But it's become a very bad-natured row between those two parties, with accusations flying back and forth. When it comes to Rishi Sunak, it has absolutely been a blow for his election chances. That mistake, as he called it himself, in leaving D-Day commemorations early to get back to the UK and carry out a television interview. It meant that the leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, was able to be photographed at that international ceremony alongside other international leaders, while Rishi Sunak was back in front of the television cameras in the UK. He's apologised for it. His senior ministers have been apologising for it on the campaign trail as well. And the opposition parties are absolutely making as much hay as possible as they can out of it. They say it's a dereliction of duty, according to the Labour Party. The Labour Party also say it calls into question the Prime Minister's character, and many Conservative candidates to become MPs or to stay MPs in the elections on July the 4th are privately saying that they're absolutely devastated by this, and they feel that it could be a significant moment in the election campaign which hurts the Conservatives.
Definitely, the campaigning is going on in full swing and too much is happening there in UK as far as the elections are concerned. But thank you so much, Ollie, for joining in. As voting is underway for EU parliamentary elections in Slovakia, Prime Minister Robert Fico cast a vote in a hospital in Bratislava on Saturday. Fico, who's been recovering at home after being shot 4 times at close range, was at the hospital for a routine checkup when he cast his vote. Slovakia joins a 4-day election of a new European Parliament that will face mounting security, industrial and political challenges. Voting to the EU legislature was held in the Netherlands on Thursday, Ireland and the Czech Republic on Friday, Malta, Slovakia and Latvia on Saturday, and in the rest of the 27 EU countries on Sunday. Meanwhile, polling in Latvia is also underway. Latvian Prime Minister Evika Selina has also cast her vote in the ongoing EU parliamentary elections. Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis appealed to Greeks on Friday to cast their ballots. The Greek Prime Minister was addressing a final campaign rally ahead of EU vote. Mitsotakis held a rally of party supporters in central Athens to vote for candidates that would strengthen Greece's voice in Brussels and Strasbourg. He added that the government would continue to support citizens with measures to tackle rising prices.
These EU elections are doubly important as they will decide major European targets that are completely connected to our lives in Greece and our priorities. We must elect European members of Parliament that will strengthen our country's voice in Brussels and Strasbourg. We will not stop supporting our weakest citizens with emergency intervention, with a stable increase in wages, pensions and disposable income.
Spain is also geared up ahead of the 2024 European parliamentary election this weekend. Municipal workers in Spain started setting up polling stations and putting up signs on Friday. Spanish citizens will vote for 61 members of the European Parliament on Sunday. According to polls published in local media, Spain's main opposition, the Conservative People's Party, could get the most votes and outperform the Socialist Party of Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez. It's the 9th time such an election is taking place in Spain since the country joined the European Union in 1986. And tensions over migration are high across Europe as parties wrestle amid European Parliament elections due in Poland on Sunday. The current arrangements allow migrants to apply for asylum in EU member Poland once they are on Polish soil. Poland and the European Union have accused Belarus and Russia of trying to spread chaos by pushing migrants over frontier. According to the Polish government figures, migrant numbers are on the rise of late. The centrist pro-EU government of Prime Minister Donald Tusk has announced plans to reintroduce a no-go zone along the frontier to ensure the safety of Polish border soldiers. Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has suffered a light whiplash injury after she was assaulted by a man in central Copenhagen on Friday. All the Prime Minister's official events on Saturday have been cancelled. Danish police said on Saturday a 39-year-old man would appear in front of a judge for preliminary questioning in relation to an assault on the Prime Minister. The assault comes 2 days before Danes head to the polls in the EU election. 3 weeks ago, Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico was seriously injured in an assassination attempt. An eyewitness saw the Prime Minister being escorted away by national and intelligence security personnel following the assault. While getting you the latest on Israel-Hamas conflict, Israeli forces have rescued 4 hostages alive from central Gaza Strip on Saturday, the military said. The 4 hostages, 3 males and 1 female, had been kidnapped from the Nova Music Festival on October 7th last year. They are being taken to hospital for medical checks. Israeli War Cabinet Minister Benny Gantz is likely to announce his resignation from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's emergency government on Saturday. Last month, Gantz presented Netanyahu with the June 8th deadline to come up with a clear day after strategy for Gaza. The departure of Gantz's centrist party would not pose an immediate threat to Netanyahu's governing coalition, which has parliamentary majority. But with Gantz's departure, Netanyahu would lose the backing of a centrist bloc that has helped broaden support for the government in Israel and above. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken will travel to the West Asia next week as Washington tries to put pressure for Gaza ceasefire. The top US diplomat will visit Egypt, Israel, Jordan and Qatar and meet with senior leaders there. Blinken will discuss with partners the need to reach a ceasefire agreement that secures the release of all hostages. Blinken's 8th visit to the region since Hamas attacked Israel on October 7 comes after US President Joe Biden last week laid out fresh ceasefire plan to end Israel and Hamas conflict. And France is planning to try to restrict children's access to social media. The French president says young people are at risk from harm online. Emmanuel Macron asked a commission of experts to examine the risks to children of spending too much time on screens, and they have recommendations for new legislation. DD India correspondent Ross Cullen reports. Have a look.
From social media to online gaming and watching videos, screens now dominate a large part of our lives. But it's the impact on children's development that is worrying the French government. In a major speech last month, the French president said that the legal age for using social media should be no younger than 15.
And today, for several hours a day, we open the door to the jungle. And that same person could be a victim of cyberbullying or subject to pornographic material or pedocriminality. That's what the online space is, because it's not regulated and it is not moderated either.
In April, a survey by French public health authorities showed that 2-year-olds in France spend about an hour a day in front of a screen. For child psychiatrist Anne Siniquier, it's a problem that must be addressed.
These screens are a bit hypnotic for children. There is lots of light, movement, bright colors, lots of sound. I mean, just look at a child watching TV. You can call them 100 times, and they won't respond in any way because they are completely hypnotized.
In 2023, the government said it wanted to introduce prevention messages on computers, tablets and phones to advise consumers in a similar way to the warnings on tobacco products. And protecting young people from too much screen time has cross-party support. Earlier this year, the opposition Republican Party tabled a bill calling for a ban on screens in nurseries for children under 3. Some of the new laws could include no screens for the under 3s, smartphones only being allowed for those under the age of 13, and a recommendation not to use Instagram or TikTok if you're under the age of 18. Ross Cullen in Paris reporting for DD India.
And still to come on DD India Newshour. Russian President Vladimir Putin says he was ready to continue negotiations on peace talks with Ukraine, but there are conditions. Eminent media personality and Ramoji Group chairman Ramoji Rao passes away.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. A quick recap of headlines. Narendra Modi to take oath as India's Prime Minister for third consecutive time. Host of foreign dignitaries, heads of several neighbouring countries to attend the event. Polling underway across European Union. Blocks 27 member states to choose 720 lawmakers for the EU Parliament. Italy, Slovakia, Latvia and Malta head to the polls today. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken to visit West Asia next week as Washington tries to put pressure for Gaza ceasefire. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that he was ready to continue negotiations on peace talks with Ukraine, but the talks should be based on the agreements that were in Russia's interests. Putin made the remarks while taking questions from reporters at Russia's annual economic forum in St. Petersburg on Friday.
Of course, we need to achieve such agreements and such conditions that will comply with our interests and will be the most reliable. You are right that to settle agreements with such authorities is really hard. All armed conflicts end with some peace agreements.
Speaking about the West providing Ukraine with long-range weapons, Putin said Russia reserves the right to respond and provide similar weapons to the countries which are under pressure from the West, but Russia has not done so yet and does not intend to do so immediately.
And now about us supplying weapons to the countries hostile to the West. We do not supply them yet, not yet. But we reserve for ourselves the right to do so to those states or even some legal entities who are feeling certain pressure, including the one of military nature, from the countries which supply the weapons to Ukraine and urge them to use it against us, against our Russian territory.
Putin also spoke about the use of nuclear weapons, stressing that he did not see the conditions for the use of such weapons as set out in Russia's nuclear doctrine. But he added that he could not rule out a change to the doctrine.
Using nuclear weapons, not using in what circumstances? We have a nuclear doctrine, everything is written there. Using nuclear weapons is possible in case of an exceptional threat to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the country in exceptional cases. I don't think there is such a case now, and there is no need for that. But this doctrine is a living instrument, and we watch closely what is happening in the world and around us. We don't exclude making some changes to this doctrine.
And as conflict between Russia and Ukraine continues, Ukrainian air defense has shot down 9 out of 13 Russian drones. One X-59 Russian missile launched from Russia's Kursk region was also downed. According to a regional governor, the overnight drone attacked damaged commercial and residential buildings and also a power line. All right, we have Dasha Chernyshova, who's DD India correspondent, joining us from Moscow. Dasha, Vladimir Putin said that he was ready to continue negotiations on peace talks with Ukraine, but the talks should be based on agreements that were in Russia's interests. There seems to be a lot of conditions here. Can you explain?
Well, that's right. The Russian president is once again sending a message to the Western countries that Russia is willing to find a negotiated solution to the conflict in Ukraine. Having said that, Moscow wants to insist very clearly and very strongly that Russia's interests have to be taken into account. So that's why the Russian president is saying that the peace talks are only possible if Ukraine agrees to talk about the conditions of this agreement, taking into account the realities on the ground, the present situation, as well as taking as the basis for these negotiations the arrangements that have been made in Istanbul in spring 2022, when the delegations from both sides have managed to work out a draft document. But at the same time, what Moscow is saying very clearly is that there should be no imaginary peace proposals that are coming from the Western countries without the participation of Russia. And obviously, with regard to that, he's referring to the very fact that in Switzerland next week it is expected to be held a peace conference, as it is called in the West, on the Ukrainian conflict, where Russia has not been invited. So Russia's understanding here is very clear that any arrangement, any peace talks are possible when the Russian interests are also taken into account.
Dasha, he also said that he sees no current threat to Russia's sovereignty that would warrant the use of nuclear weapons. How do you assess this statement?
Again, Russia wants to make it clear to the world that it is not trying to use nuclear weapons and nuclear rhetoric in its negotiated position. The Russian president said that Russia is not saber-rattling with nuclear weapons, and it was the West that started it first. He even referred to the former UK Prime Minister Liz Truss as being the first person to start using the nuclear rhetoric. At the same time, President Vladimir Putin said that Russia's military doctrine is a living document that could be changed, it could be worked and developed. So he said that concerns the possibility of nuclear testing, but he said that neither is Russia in a position at the moment for the need to use nuclear weapons, nor for the need to use nuclear testing. So again, even though the Russian president is saying that Russia is not intending to use the nuclear weapons, it is always somewhere on the agenda, somewhere a reminder that Russia is a nuclear power after all, and it is impossible to defeat a nuclear power.
Okay, this is what he's trying to say, which you just mentioned. Thank you so much, Dasha, for joining in and for your assessment. Well, US President Joe Biden apologized to Ukraine for congressional delays in approving latest aid package to the country. Biden also announced a fresh $225 million tranche to Ukraine in a meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Paris on the sidelines of D-Day events on Friday.
The way you stood and holding on in Kharkiv, and you've proven once again the people of Ukraine cannot and will never be overtaken. And I assure you, the United States is going to stand with you. I've said that all during this debate. I continue to say it. The United States is standing with you.
In response to Biden extending support, Volodymyr Zelensky stressed the importance of his country's relationship with the United States, saying it was crucial in the conflict with Russia.
Very important that in this unity, United States, America, all American people stay with Ukraine, like it was during World War II, how the United States helped to save human lives, to save Europe, and we count on your continuing support and standing with us, shoulder to shoulder. Thank you so much. We need peace in Ukraine, but we will stay. Anyway, stay strong.
Various states of USA are reeling under severe heatwave conditions, making it difficult for people involved in outdoor activities. People in Arizona's Phoenix tried to cool down in water as temperatures soared beyond 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Phoenix was one of several cities that experienced their hottest summers on record in 2023, enduring temperatures exceeding 110 Fahrenheit for over a month. On the other hand, farmers in the Northern California are forced to work under excessively high temperatures caused by a heat dome stalled over the southwest USA. The heat dome is a massive high-pressure system pushing temperatures up all the time. And Hong Kong just recorded its hottest May since records began, with experts attributing the sweltering conditions to climate change. This comes as studies show the world is set to record its hottest summer ever. Experts say authorities need to be on high alert to protect children and vulnerable communities from heat, and the city recently adjusted a new heat stress warning system for outdoor workers. DD India's Laura Westbrook has more input from Hong Kong.
For 75-year-old Mrs. Chan, each summer in Hong Kong feels hotter than the last. In her tiny flat, which she shares with her son and daughter-in-law, there is a small air conditioner, but she rarely turns it on to keep bills down. Outside, she works as a street cleaner, where there is nowhere to hide from the sweltering temperatures.
The sweat can be so intense that I cannot see, and it drips into my eyes, which hurts. But you still have to endure it. At most, I can use the fan at the garbage station after finishing work.
Hong Kong recorded its hottest May since records began and is expecting another record-breaking summer. As the average summer temperature has risen, so too has the number of heat stroke cases reported each year.
Global monitors have warned that 2024 is shaping up to be the hottest year on record. Scientists say the extreme heat is partly due to the El Niño weather phenomenon as well as climate change.
It is outdoor workers who bear the brunt of extreme heat, which has put pressure on authorities to put protections in place. Hong Kong recently adjusted its three-tier heat warning system to coincide with the observatory's weather warnings, issuing guidelines for outdoor workers to take a break for 15 to 45 minutes every hour when a heat alert is issued. But experts say it's not legally binding and could put added pressure on workers.
I'm worried the employer wants to complete construction quickly. If the workers take a break, but the work period remains unchanged, they still need to catch up on the progress. It will be very hard for the workers.
Last month, UNICEF warned high temperatures across South and East Asia could put children at serious risk of heat-related illnesses, which included breathing problems and cardiovascular disease. As the city and the region heads into summer, the United Nations says authorities need to be on high alert to protect children and vulnerable communities. Laura Westbrook in Hong Kong, reporting for DD India.
Flash floods in Australian city of Sydney on Saturday prompted immediate evacuation and rescue operations. According to the authorities, heavy rains caused the flash floods in low-lying areas of the city so far. Rescue services had helped 13 people. Floods are the second deadliest natural disasters in Australia after heat waves, accounting for 20% of the disaster and its related deaths. Australia's weather forecaster has warned of a major flooding on Saturday as well. The India Meteorological Department announced an increase in rainfall activity along the coasts of Karnataka and Maharashtra starting June 8th. Thunderstorm and rain with the maximum temperatures of 35 degrees Celsius predicted for Tamil Nadu. IMD has issued a yellow alert for the state. The Met Office has also issued a yellow alert for the national capital today. Temperatures are expected to range between 42 and 29 degrees Celsius for the maximum and minimum respectively. The city's weather is undergoing a shift caused by influence of fresh western disturbance. And let's take a look at other stories making news. The Enforcement Directorate is conducting raid on the residence of Manoj Agrawal in Rajnandgaon district of Chhattisgarh. He is the chairman of Ma Bamleshwari Temple Trust and Dongargarh Rice Association. Teams are conducting the search operations since 5 a.m. local time. A joint police operation was conducted along the borders of Narayanpur, Dantewada, Kondagaon, Jagdalpur of Chhattisgarh by DRG, CRPF and ITBP. 7 Naxalites were killed by officials in the operation that took place in the intervening nights of 6th and 7th of June. Officials also recovered lots of ammunition, including 303 315 bore rifles and 12 bore rifles from the possession of Naxalites. 3 officials also sustained minor injuries during the operation. The 25th Passing Out Parade of Officers Training Academy was organized today in Gaya. Lieutenant General Upendra Dwivedi reviewed the parade. 118 officer cadets were commissioned as officers in the Indian Army. General Dwivedi complimented the cadets, highlighting the honor of serving in the armed forces. Eminent media personality and Ramoji Group Chairman Ramoji Rao died at 87 while undergoing treatment in Hyderabad. Prime Minister Narendra Modi condoled the demise of Ramoji Rao. The Prime Minister posted on X, and I quote, "The passing away of Ramoji Rao Garu is extremely saddening. He was a visionary who revolutionized Indian media. His rich contributions have left an indelible mark on journalism and the world of films. Though his noteworthy efforts, he set a new standards for innovation and excellence in the media and entertainment world. Ramoji Rao Garu was extremely passionate about India's development. I am fortunate to have got several opportunities to interact with him and benefit from his wisdom. Condolences to his family, friends, and countless admirers during this difficult time. Om Shanti." And still to come on DD India Newshour. Afghanistan cricket team creates history in the T20 World Cup, beat New Zealand by a huge margin of 84 runs. And India will take on arch rivals Pakistan in a blockbuster T20 World Cup Group A match on Sunday.
What could be the road ahead for NDA, for Narendra Modi 3.0?
I have been chatting with the allies, the bigger allies, over the last few days. All of them on record have told us that they are joining the government without any conditions.
In spite of this decrease of number, Narendra Modi has not changed his policy, including the corruption issue.
I do think that Rahul Gandhi will finally take the plunge this time because he is being overwhelmingly asked by the Congress Working Committee and all other leaders to do so.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Alexander Zverev recovered from a slow start on Friday to beat Casper Ruud 2-6, 6-2, 6-4, 6-2 and set up a blockbuster French Open final with Carlos Alcaraz. Competing in his 4th straight semi-final in Paris, the 4th seed finally broke the barrier to become the 2nd German man to reach the Roland Garros title clash in the Open era. Zverev's win came on the same day he agreed a settlement after the mother of his child accused him of physical abuse and a German court closed the case. All right, Afghanistan cricket team created history in the T20 World Cup when it thrashed New Zealand by a huge margin of 84 runs in Guyana in a Group C match on Saturday. Chasing 160, New Zealand kept on losing wickets at regular intervals and got bundled out for just 76. Outstanding spells from skipper Rashid Khan and Farooqi were the key to Afghanistan win. Both took 4 wickets off 17 runs. A confident and well-adjusted India will aim to capitalize on unpredictable Pakistan's vulnerable state and unfamiliarity with the tricky conditions in New York when the traditional rivals face off in their eagerly awaited T20 World Cup clash on Sunday. DD India correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya reports with more details.
It's a sporting rivalry like no other. This weekend, cricket giants India and Pakistan are set to clash in a historic match in New York for the ongoing ICC Men's T20 Cricket World Cup. For the first time ever, these neighbouring nations will face off on US soil as the T20 tournament makes its American debut. Both India and Pakistan have claimed the T20 World Cup once. India, the inaugural edition in 2007 and Pakistan in 2009. These teams have collided 7 times in the T20 World Cup. India have dominated with 6 victories, including a thrilling bowl-out and a grand finale in 2007 and Virat Kohli's sensational heist in Melbourne in 2022. Pakistan's lone win came in 2021 where they shattered India's World Cup winning streak with a dominant performance in Dubai. As India takes the field, they are driven by a thirst for a major trophy, their last being the 2013 Champions Trophy with Rohit Sharma at the helm, Virat Kohli's experience and Surya Kumar Yadav's explosive batting and the explosive bowling by Bumrah. The men in blue are ready to ignite the stage. On the other side, Pakistan, led by the consistent Babar Azam, is on a mission for redemption. With the batting lineup anchored by Azam and Mohammad Rizwan and the youthful energy of Saim Ayub, their ambitions are clear. Their fierce bowling attack led by Shaheen Afridi blends pace with experience, making them a formidable opponent. The stage is set. The players are ready. The world watches as India and Pakistan gear up for the battle like no other in a city that never sleeps. Tune in to witness history in the making. This is Taposh Bhattacharya along with my camera person S. Jaishan reporting live from New York.
New York's Nassau County will implement unprecedented security measures for the T20 World Cup clash between India and Pakistan on June 9. Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman emphasized the county's coordinated security efforts with federal partners including the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security. Watch this exclusive interview with DD India correspondent Taposh Bhattacharya.
Joining me is Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman to talk about the security arrangements made here. Sir, it's been amazing tournament, and USA made it. They defeated Pakistan. Added incentive, isn't it? But the security arrangements are always been a paramount for you guys.
Yes, so anytime you have a world-class event like this, you have to do a lot of preparation and planning and training, and we've done that. We've been on this for 6 months. I want to compliment the fans. The fans are exuberant, they're excited, they are very loud, they let you know which team they're rooting for, but they're very respectful and very polite. We have had no issues. 0 issues, and we're halfway through the tournament, so we couldn't be more delighted.
Right. India-Pakistan, as we mentioned, it's always a high-profile event. Is there added pressure on you guys to make sure that there are no, untoward incidents that take place?
Well, we take everything very seriously, every threat, and we anticipated this would happen because it happens at every major world sporting event, and we'll be prepared. We have a small army here, and also throughout the county on that day, I have increased the number of police officers. You will see a very, very large police presence around the stadium, in the stadium, and around the county.
How excited is the whole police force and the people of this place are? World T20, the first time a cricket World Cup happening here.
Well, this is a major sporting event. It's one of the largest sporting events in the world. And I think we're showing that Nassau County can do this. Nobody does it better than us. And I think this will be an opener not only for more cricket events, but I think other sporting events will look and see what we've been able to do in such a short period of time, and they'll want to come to Nassau County.
Much appreciated time. So that was the county executive saying that all the preparations have been made and they are absolutely ready for the big ticket event of India versus Pakistan. With campus, this is Taposh Bhattacharya for DD India from Nassau County.
Top-ranked Iga Swiatek will look to continue her dominance at Roland Garros when she faces 15th-ranked Jasmine Paolini in the 2024 French Open Women's Singles Final on Saturday. Swiatek, who first held the top ranking in April 2022, is looking to win her 4th French Open and 3rd in a row. She is also closing in on her 5th Grand Slam title, having won the US Open in 2022. Visitors are in for a treat at the Heian Jingju Shrine in Kyoto city of Japan. About 2,000 white, blue and purple, which are called the Hana Shobu in Japanese, are in full bloom in the shrine's garden. Normally visitors have to pay an entrance fee, but the site was open to the public free of charge on Friday. The iris season at the shrine will continue until around June 20th. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.